What is up, everybody? Excuse me. How are we doing tonight? Good to see everybody rolling in here. It's been a little while since I've done a live. I promise I'm going to start doing some more here once political season kind of slows down and stuff slows down with our union stuff and things like that. And that's anticipated here. This will all be over in November, but the stuff that we're doing now is kind of going to be ending sooner than that. So tonight we're going to talk about Flora and Delphi, and I'm going to give you my opinion of why they are not related. The two crimes are not related in any way, shape, or form, despite being the distance and despite being juvenile females. So, and I will acknowledge that Carroll County has an incredibly high, look at 63 clocks. We'll talk about that in a second. Incredibly high death rate for minors. They're not all linked. You know what I mean? They're just not. That's just not, I know people say numbers, these are this and that. And I understand that and I get that. But 63 clocks. So I started memberships, you know what I mean? And I don't know. We'll see how it goes, if people are interested in it or not. But 63 clocks jumped in one. So we have one level is a probie and the other level is, I think it's a captain. Oh my goodness, Jinx is now joined. Look at you guys. But anyways, what I want to do, we'll talk about this now since you guys are hitting me with love, and I'll come back and say hi to everybody. Look, you changed colors, 63 clocks, and I guess Jinx did too. I've won a couple subscriptions for people's channels before. One person's channel that I didn't want them to know that I was watching, but I won a subscription. Someone paid for it for me, so for a month. But here's what I want to do. I want to do 2 members only shows a month. This is what I'm looking to do. 2 members only shows a month. One of them I'll pick, and it'll be different things. It'll be varying things. We might do, if you guys like it, and I want to hear what everyone has to say. You want to do the serial killer case studies again. We talk about old guys, young guys, women, men, whatever you guys want to talk about. And then the other one will be, once we get to that, I'll kind of steer that. The other will vote. It could be anything. It could be true crime related, non-related. You can ask me questions about coaching high school basketball, firefighting, anything you want to ask me, or we could do a topic on different things. And I'll let you guys kind of pick that out. But I want to do 2 of them a month. It'll probably be an hour like I do now. And I appreciate the support from everyone. And I told you guys before as we're talking with Flora, but anyways, there's a level that's probie, level that's captain. I think there's some badges that are different. I actually put McKeesport, a fire badge in there as one of the badges. I don't know if those things show up on here or not, or on the phone. Let me look. Yeah, something. You should get that somewhere. Oh, okay. I see it there. Yeah, I see it there on Jinx's. But anyways, let me say hi to everybody here, and we'll get into this. And I'll be very straightforward. I have a couple things to show you. And there'll be a couple things that I'm going to show you that's going to say on it serial killer. Don't get lost in that terminology, because sexually sadistic killers could be one-off killers. Sexually sadistic people might not even be killers. But I'm going to use that and move forward. But let's say hi to everybody. Don't forget, like, if you think it's a good video, share, subscribe, set your alerts. I'll be getting some more stuff going on. Hopefully we'll do a porch video tomorrow on something that's unreal. It's actually a porch video about Rex Huerman. It was one of the Discords, might even have been mine. Turbo posted things that were going on, and the Asian John Doe, the Asian male, the way that he was taken care of, if you will, was different than everyone else. Rex Huerman showed rage. Rex Huerman was tricked by this person, in my opinion. But we'll talk about that, because that's another just absolutely insane case that's going on. Big Fish, how are you doing? Good to see you. Rescue all the dogs. That's it. Kiana, Kiera, Cariel, Kiani is what it's all about. I did send Galen a text tonight. I don't know if she'll come up in here or not, or what she has going on. I said, hey, wish you well. Just let you know, kind of get Flora getting back going. To be perfectly honest with you, I could do Flora 5 days a week if I had the time. But in the Delphi circle, it gets kind of lost. So when there's laws kind of in the Delphi circle, not that there's ever any really laws, but there's like laws that are nothing's really happening. I like to jump back in this because everybody's checking on things, and I'm going to talk about the Delphi case tonight too, right? That's the case that kind of brought me into doing this and put all the puzzle pieces together for me. But we want to pump that floor as much as we can. And I'll talk about that here once I say hi to everybody. Jill, great to see you. Melissa. Hi, Jinx, who's always there. 63 Clocks, hello to you again. But I'll do more. I'll share some stuff on my community page about the membership things and what we're going to do and how we'll do votes and stuff like that. But again, I'd like to do one show that, I'll kind of give you a genre. Maybe I'll give you choices. You want to do a serial killer show and we'll list people, or we're going to do this or we're going to do that. Psychology, firefighting, whatever. And then another show where you guys can kind of I'll put a comment thread up in my community page and say, I'm looking for ideas, right? And if someone says, hey, let's talk about our favorite horror movie for an hour. And if that's what you guys want to do, I'll do it or whatever. You understand? So I like to be transparent, let everybody get to know me. So as always, you guys can ask me anything you want, really. I'm okay with that. Well, hey, Frosty's finally back to working regular shifts. I'm going to miss some of the conversations that I miss on Discord from between 2 and 6 o'clock in the morning. And I go on and look, and I don't know the context of it. I just read the messages of people going back and forth. And I'm like, man, what the hell did they get into last night? Huh? Jinx has it right there, too. Absolutely. Junior Johnson, good to see you. 5-point underdogs at the big house this weekend, Junior. Michigan against USC. What do you think? I love Michigan, but I don't bet with my heart. Some would argue I don't bet with my brain either, but I really don't bet with my heart. No way, shape, or form. Let me just get that screen out of there. Okay. Tax deductible. I don't know, Scott. You're going to have to ask someone that knows way more about the tax law than I do. You know what I know about the tax law? I take get my W-2 or whatever from work. I put it in a folder with my name on it. I take it to my accountant. Then he sends me a bill, and I pay the bill. Then I get a return. So I can't help you with that. Frank Meister, what is happening? I was a little bit late coming on. I was talking to somebody. We're running down. It's actually Flora stuff. Hopefully we can, I don't know, help. All I can tell you for sure, something is going on in Flora with the police. Something's happening. I don't know for sure. Again, I don't have any police contacts in Indiana on the Flora case whatsoever. I don't have any on the Delphi case either. But something's going on. Yeah, Kristen's in the house. I was able to pop in. We were so busy yesterday. It was unfreaking believable. I work. I'm getting back into working out. So I worked 4 different times to finish my workout because we get a call. Odyssey Extreme. Hello. How are you? Thank you, Odyssey. I appreciate it. Good to see you in here. How come I can't have neighbors like me? I don't know. I don't know if that's good or bad, Scott. I'm a pretty good neighbor. I keep to myself, keep my grass cut, pick up the dog poop. Thank you, Junior. Yeah, Fire and Ice is a really good channel. The one day they went early the other day at 6:30, and me and Brooke were out eating. And I'm like, I can't believe it. They're usually 11 o'clock. I'm struggling to stay awake. Even these football games, man, I'm falling asleep. I'm having a hard time. But they've been doing some great stuff. Ruckus, speaking of doing great stuff, Ruckus always does. He's been popping around too. I've got a couple. I didn't hear about it till late, but he's been doing some things on some other channels. That's pretty cool. Serial Killer, Junior Johnson. I don't know how old you are, but their Ghetto Boys had a song called Serial Killer, and it was all about cereal with a C. It's, I don't know. So we listened to growing up. Mustang, how are you? Justice for Libby and Abby, absolutely. Justice for all these girls. And, I'm going to show you a couple clips of Doug Carter talking, and maybe I'm a complete fool and an idiot. That's perfectly possible. But I like Doug Carter, and I think he's a genuine guy. I really do. I really do. Ruckus, I have several personalities. If I call 911 and threaten to unalive myself, it's a hostage situation. Oh, hey. You know what? In my town, soon I'm going to post everything that's been happening in my town with arrests and just absolute insanity. Police chief got arrested. A police lieutenant or police detective was stealing from the FOP and from charitable organizations. A janitor got caught with 250 stamp bags of heroin on school property. What's up, Witchy? Good to see you. And there's like 10 other things too. It's just absolutely crazy. If you dare Google McKeesport, Pennsylvania, and you're going to be like, holy shit, this can't be real. It's real. I tell you guys, we have some crazy shit that happens at work. Say hi to everybody, and again to my show. But let me tell you a real quick story. So a call last shift, not yesterday, 4 days before, we had a call for a person hit by a car on a busy street. The cars go pretty fast, and it's bad there. When we get car wrecks there, we know it's bad. I've been on probably 4 fatals in a 2-block stretch of road, and the road's straight. And he breaks into a couple lanes, but it's straight, but people fly down there. So on the way there, we get an update from dispatch saying the caller said that the car that hit the person and the person that got hit fled. Different directions. So, I mean, you get there and you're like, well, sometimes you just can't make sense of things. That's Sarah Evil. Good to see you, brother. Teresa the Troll, Snarky Ass Angel, Jamie Hicks. Catching all you guys coming in. Great to see everyone. Marine, great to see you. All right. But yeah, I'll put more out about the memberships and stuff like that and what we're going to do. I want to do a unique spin. And I don't think no one does that. And I like a lot of stuff that the people do with their memberships, but I just wanted to kind of be different. So anyways, it rained here today for the first time in a long time. It's been like the Sahara. Didn't rain a lot, but I got my grass cut beforehand. Figures the only day that I haven't cut my grass for 3 weeks. It rains, but I got it done. Anyways, I have a couple big differences in these crimes, and I want to show and explain it to you. I have a couple clips, a couple articles, and we will be out of here. 7:30, 7:45 at the latest. So you guys could get on with what you're doing. Frank mentioned maybe doing a panel tonight. I'm not sure, but I appreciate you being here. Go check on your favorite creators after this, see what they got going on. But as of today, like nothing Delphi related really dropped or came out. But anyways, motive. Okay. Yeah, we don't know the actual quote unquote motive, so to speak, for the Delphi case or technically for the Flora case, right? But Doug Carter has said in interviews that the person that burnt the house on East Columbia Street that killed the 4 girls didn't mean to kill them. So they are working off of a motive, right? They have some kind of motive. They know the motive in Delphi. And Richard Allen, if he ends up being the killer, he knows the motive. If Richard Allen is not the killer, that they know the motive. But those motives are known. So Doug Carter makes different statements about things like that. And he said that wasn't meant to kill these girls, this fire. Doug Carter has said too, and I'll show you a couple clips here. I'll pull them up. Where he says, I need to know what was going on before, the days before, things like that, what was happening in that house, in that area. He's talking about suspected drug activity, okay? Galen addresses this too, in the interview with Dakari Turner. And again, follow Dakari Turner. I don't think I have any of his clips I'm going to play tonight. A great reporter for a local station there. And even in 2017, like it's weed, and it should not make a difference in this case. But that's one of the reasons the police looked at this the way they did, and the people in town looked at this the way they did, because maybe someone showed up and smoked a joint or something like that. You know what I mean? And it's like there's people doing meth all over the place, right? Not just in Indiana, but in like poor white communities, basically communities that can't get cocaine. They do meth. Cocaine's the choice drug, from what I understand, from a DEA guy. So, the country people find a way. I tell you what, we'll make our own shit then. How about that? And then boom, we're off on that. And it's a different tirade than cocaine is. But I don't know. But anyways, let me show you a couple of things I have to show you, because I want to explain to you. And I believe this is all things for me. This is what I believe why these two cases aren't related. I believe that the motive in Delphi is going to be a sexual sadistic motive. Okay. And I'll tell you why I think that here in a second with a couple of things, but let me show you a couple of things out of the old email box. And these all things kind of dovetail together. Okay. And like I told you, I like to do different intros. Okay, I think this is a Dougie Carter. Let me make sure we get it going here. Yeah, okay. Let me make sure we get up on the screen and we have the right tab being shared. Give it a second to catch up here. And I'm going to show you the I-team here. And just a few clicks of this, if you will, in Dusty Rhodes' voice. And I want to get to you.
Teammate uncovered new details on the fire that tore through a home.
If you haven't followed him already, Dakari Turner. Hold on.
In the Carroll County community of Flora. It was, you recall, ruled an arson.
I
asked to speak with the state's police superintendent. He declined.
How about that?
That is until we approached him again. State police detectives working for nearly 8 years.
So this is Dakari. He just recently did these.
Mystery still surrounds the November 20th.
And I want to show you what Doug Carter has to say. Dakari's done a great job. He visited Galen, talked to Galen. But I just want to play this portion of this interview for you. And then I want to hear what you think about it after I tell you what I think about it. You could say, hey, you're on it. You made me
state law enforcement. So the
investigation is active as we speak today.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
The state's top cop, after first declining our invitation.
Real quick, if anyone reads body language or into reading body language, tell me what you see in Doug Carter. Look at again, talk about the car too. Steepling, right? I got you. I owe you, dude. I know what I'm going to ask you.
To talk about the fires. Now he opens up, sitting down with iTeammate at Wish TV. He asked that we keep our questions general. In our search for answers, we pushed for more.
Can you say anything more specific than ongoing about where the investigation stands?
I can't, as I explained to you, but I can tell you that we're responding and reacting to every bit of information that we receive.
Have any new leads been developed? Any suspects been identified?
Leads, yes. Suspects, no.
Odd, right? Odd. How could you leads without suspects? I don't know. Again, this is iTeammate. This is the great Dakari Turner. And now we're going to kind of get.
We spoke to the girl's mother, Galen Rose, from her home in Missouri.
To listen.
She opened up to me and our cameras for the first time in years. She tells us involved in the investigation at its earliest stages.
This again.
Is this case solvable? Was it botched from the beginning?
I think botched is a subjective term. We didn't get involved in it for a period of time.
Sorry, guys, I can't.
As a state police agency.
Was it botched from the beginning?
I think botched is a subjective term. We didn't get involved in it for a period of time as a state police agency.
Yes, it was botched at the beginning. Absolutely, clearly. Listen, I work with law enforcement. My brother's in law enforcement. But if the cops fuck up, you have to call them out, just like you do anyone else, like you do a quarterback, right? You're watching or the Eagles coach. What are you doing? Throwing or giving the ball to Barkley? Run the goddamn football. So everyone is at that. You could get that. I could get that. I've been yelled at many times at fires. What the fuck are you doing, you fucking stupid fireman? I'm like, listen, give me a second. Then I would look at them and say, give me a second, then you can motherfuck me. Get my water going or whatever. And I'm like, all right, come on over. What do you got to say? And they're like, oh, we didn't know what you were doing or whatever. One person continued to MF me, but they botched it. He didn't botch it. The state police didn't botch it. But the local investigators 100% fucked this case up from the door and ruined evidence from the door. Even if somebody comes forward and somebody tips somebody in, it might be difficult because the way the evidence was handled, the way the scene was not preserved, and just hundreds of other things, really. So they're on the right track now. I truly believe that. I don't want to fill you with a line of shit. I truly believe they're on the right track now.
I think botched is probably not an accurate word. Were there mistakes made? Yes. And do I wish we would have gotten involved earlier? Yes. The fact is we didn't. And do I think it's solvable? Yes, I do.
There is also a question as to whether small town politics too factored in early. The owner of the burned down duplex was, at the time, the president of the town's council. Then, months after the fire, 2 white girls were murdered a short drive away in Delphi. Those murders, according to Galen Rose, shifted attention and resources from finding the person responsible for killing 4 black girls.
I'm sorry, I've been referred to as a racist because I don't care about those 4 little black girls, and that's offensive to me and it hurts deeply.
As you're well aware, the Delphi murders happened after that. And some of the allegation is, well, they were focused on it, and then they switched.
I don't want to downplay this issue, but I don't think the police had any kind of downplaying on that.
Wrong. Just so wrong.
I think they were treated differently. Galen was treated differently than if she was.
Our investigation uncovered a trail of documents showing an insurance policy taken out by the homeowner less than.
So he goes through and he shows this insurance policy too. He takes to an IU professor, and if it's in this one or not, or he just talks Carter here. One more thing I want you to hear Doug Carter say. And a current IU professor.
You're looking at.
It's not one that we haven't looked at.
You said that Galen Rose is not a suspect. Can you tell us why she's not a suspect?
All I can say is I believe that's accurate.
Was she a suspect?
I don't believe so. Again, my opinion.
My opinion. So other cops thought that she was something. Something was up there. Okay. They were very whatever. But let me get back into it. Let me see what you guys have to say about this. Then I have a couple of other things I want to show you. One of them is an article and things like that. But let me catch up to everybody. Make sure I miss anyone. Melissa, 8, My Survivor. You know what? I didn't even know that was still on. I've never watched a single episode of that. I have nothing bad to say about it. I don't know about it. I just never, it's one of the things I never watched. I never watched Sons of Anarchy. A lot of people are like, oh, you're missing out. Maybe I am. I don't know. In my opinion, when nothing drops, that's a drop. It could be. I get where you're going. I might miss something. Broken clocks are right twice a day, too. They are. Yeah, check out Frank. I don't know if he's going to do something tonight or not. The Coke is more expensive. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I see where we are now with the times. Yeah, that's a thing, too. I get it. Stick to weed, Melissa. You know how I feel. I'm a huge advocate for that, and I 100% agree with you on the pot. And not just like, hey, we're going to smoke 10 blunts tonight. No, you use it for different things. There's creams, there's salves. I mean, there's anything. They make suppositories. Luckily, knock on wood, I have never needed one of them. But you could have put a weed suppository. Carter is always getting pretty tense. Yeah, I see the things with Carter is there's different. I'll tell you the craziest interview to Carter to me based on his baseline. When I say baseline, it's how you normally act in a situation. We really only know Doug Carter on TV, so he has a baseline. He's going to act the way he's going to act. He was emotional during that first press conference. Actually, he's been emotional in a couple of press conferences. So it's almost a baseline to see that. And watch that chin. Remember, the chin boss. Go see the behavior panel. I'm a novice, very, very, very novice at this, but there's a couple of things that they've taught me already. Whenever they're asking him at the arrest of Richard Allen, when they're asking him out off to the side, I forget who it is, and says, "Can you state your name for the record?" He's like, "I can't tell you that." Like he made a joke. And that was very un-Doug Carter-like from what I've seen, even on that day. Even on that day it was joyous, but, you know, yeah, I'd like to meet him sometime. He's pretty tall. I want to ask him if he used to play basketball. From Indiana and tall, you kind of got to hoop, right? Yeah, botched isn't an accurate word. I think it's an accurate word. But Doug Carter, he's not talking about his own people, but he's not going to kick dirt on other police, but he is going to acknowledge by his words, maybe not directly, but by his words, yeah, they fucked up and I wish would have taken over from the door. He's not going to come out and say that. Hopefully that he comes out and, you know, you're not going to go anti or interagency activity, but it has to be explained, right? If they're holding it all back, same with Delphi, they're holding it all back for a case, or in Flora's case, a trial, that they're going to, you know, eventually come out and explain. Yeah, Galen has been through hell. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about Delphi too, and the way that the two killings were different. JC is the warden. Yeah, I wouldn't even say the warden, snarky ass angel, because if I think a warden, I think, and I know that me and you have different opinions of Doug Carter, and that's fine, but I think of a warden in jail when you say warden. And a warden in jail does a way more hands-on stuff than a superintendent of Indiana State Police is. Like Doug Carter's not arresting anybody. He's not pulling his gun. I mean, maybe he comes into something like, I don't know, a couple people fighting at the courthouse, and you see him in the background, all big, and he got a nice long stride. You know, as a coach, I'm looking at these things. He's probably a little too old to play for me, but, you know, I'm watching it. But day-to-day investigation, I doubt that he's even briefed day-to-day. He could pick up a phone and call someone at any time and find out what's going on, but I don't see him getting a briefing from Delphi and Flora every day for 5 or 7 years. Maybe I'm wrong. He cares about it tremendously. And he kind of looks at it like it's his case because he's like your Chief Moose. If you remember Chief Moose during the Beltway Snipers, he was the guy. And the day that they caught him, if you remember, Moose came out and all the reporters were like, Moose, Moose, you know. And there was a movie where he was played by the guy Charles S. Dutton, who played Rock. Rock was a fantastic show. But I do like Doug Carter, and I believe what he's saying. I don't think that he's full of shit. I really don't. Is he kind of, people say he's like the Riddler? Yeah, but you can't come out and say these things if you're police. The family doesn't even know stuff about this crime, right? And that in Delphi. Now, Flora, obviously, they don't have the same lines of communication that they have in Delphi. With two different reasons. What's the reasoning for that? I can't really put my finger on it, but I think, and maybe some people were looking to protect Galen and look out for her, and we're picking up maybe a little bit of the cops were maybe suspecting something, and not her of this crime, but suspecting her of something else. And maybe they said, hey, hold on a second, now as time has passed and things are looked at differently. That's just speculation on my part. Jamie Hicks, the inhaler, the cream. Yeah, Dr. Solomon's the one that I like the best. It's THC and CBD. Polygraph, good to see you. Hopefully everyone's being respectful and courteous. I didn't do a subscribers only. I've been doing that in my last couples, but I kind of forgot tonight. But when I have like Galen or someone on, I'll do that. But I have people want to come in here and say stuff. I got great mods. I probably won't even get to see it. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. But he's even more, I would say, I would use this comparison, and that's a good comparison. But I would say that say it's an NBA team. Carter's the general manager, right? Carter's the general manager, and maybe, Vito or whatever you want to say with each case. Greg Edwards initially with Flora, they were the head coach, and they were reporting back, hey, I need this, I need that. Hey, get me a goddamn guy that can hit the corner three. Get rid of this guy. He's a drunk or whatever. I would use that comparison, but that's a good comparison, Libertarian. And I like everyone that makes a sports comparison to anything. I really do. I enjoy it very much. All right. Honeybee. Look at Honeybee. I'll talk to you in a while, Honeybee. Holy shit. Honeybee gifted 10 memberships. Wow. Who's getting them? Everyone that turns green gets them. Congratulations, Polygraph. Melissa, congratulations. 63, you're already in it. Wow, I don't even know. Wow, that's crazy. Thank you so much. And again, I'll share more about that. But if you're just coming in, that's going to work. We're going to do 2 members only a month. One, I'll kind of steer the direction, but I'll give you a pick. Like, hey, we're going to do a serial killer deep dive. These are the guys to pick. The others you steer. It could be about anything, right? It doesn't have to be about true crime. It could be about anything. It could be what I cook, what it's like to have celiacs, what it's like to be a fireman, what kind of weed I like, whatever you want to talk about. And we're good with it. And that'll just be between us. But thank you so much, Honeybee. Looks like Junior Johnson got one. Very well deserved. Has anyone seen the funny video? They're eating our pets and cats. No, not that one. I've seen a bunch of other ones. And I don't get too much into the politics. But when the memes come out and you're like, wait a minute, someone said this, and then you go back and look. And again, Google McKeesport, Pennsylvania. And there's been a lot happening lately. So we kind of make memes about ourselves. Anyways, let me get back into this, okay? So I'm going to show you a thing here. An arson and a hands-on murder with a bladed weapon, whether it's a knife or a box cutter, whatever it turns out to be, are very, very different things. Not to say that one person couldn't do the same thing. Through my research, what I've seen is anyone that has used a bladed weapon, excuse me, in a sexual sadistic killing, which is my opinion. I'll tell you why it's my opinion very shortly. That the only time that arson was involved with that case or another case was to burn evidence and to cover up things after the crime. I think that Richard Allen, if he is found guilty, and if he's the guy, I believe he's the guy, he is an organized offender. Okay, this is an outside crime. This isn't like a blitz attack. Daniel Nations, one of the, God, there got to be some kind of crazy bush or something blowing and stuff around right now. My nose around, my eyes are watering. But Daniel Nations was running around attacking people with hatchets. That's an unorganized type of crime. This is an organized type of crime. Victims are moved. Victims are marched somewhere. They're taken from point A to point B. Usually for an organized offender, you have an abduction site, a murder site, and a disposal or dumping site. You could argue that you had that here because you did move one of the girls, or who knows where the actual homicide of both of them happened, or so on and so forth. But what I see in Flora is Man, someone like went back there and just threw something in that window. That's what I think happened. I really do. I don't think it was a plan to do anything crazy. I think that it was some kind of get back of some sort, some personal cause. Whether it was a personal cause for someone, I don't think it was against Galen or the children either. Was someone going against the house, or could it be someone going against the color of Galen's skin? I've heard people say that. I talked about a guy that was really mean to her at the gas station that threw change. To best of my knowledge, he's been vetted out, but we shall see. Rescue all the dogs. Looks like she got one. See through. Oh, you guys, thanks, Honeybee. But I'll be posting stuff on my community page. I can't give you the same date every month because I work different schedule. But I'll say it ain't gonna be Sunday because the NFL are probably Saturday. But hey, the second Tuesday of every month and the fourth Tuesday or whatever the hell, and then it'll be kind of set like that. I think we'll have a lot of fun and interaction during that. So. But go back to that. So you have a hands-on thing, and you have an arsonist who kind of almost like a sniper. Snipers have God complexes, right? They kill from afar. But let me show you this and go over this with you guys real fast. Show you what I'm talking about. We get back to the old Gmail. Here we go. This is just a screenshot. And let me make sure that this is all the way up before I start doing anything with it. Okay, it should be blown up for you. Hopefully everyone can read it. Okay, and again, I understand that I don't think that Richard Allen's a serial killer, but I think people early on, especially the FBI, thought that this could have been a working one. So again, these could be one-off people too, all right? This is just a general talk at the very beginning, hands-on, and something not like bombing. I don't get it, but I guess if these are professionals talking. This is just a blurb out of a paper that they did. I don't get it, but I guess if the victims are perceived as deserving it could be romanticized. So they're just kind of talking about, serial killers. They don't like getting them romanticized. That was part of the talk, and I actually didn't mean to keep that in there, but I wanted to read it so I didn't look like I fucked up when I took the screenshot. Arsonists are lurkers, not facing their victims if the murder is the intent, and if it isn't, arson is just another form of vandalism. So again, if no one's in the house, no one gets killed, it's vandalism, but they're not facing their victims. Delphi was a up close and personal. It wasn't even a shooting. Some people go up and they shoot people, even at close range. That's still not really considered like an up close and personal kill. You have to plunge something into someone, or people that take their hands and strangle someone, or strangle someone with a ligature. That and arson are on opposite ends of the spectrum. Your arson's over here with snipers, with the God complex, killing from afar, and you have a sexual sadist over here, which again I believe is what the Delphi was. And one of the reasons that I told you guys this before, and Doug Carter through Jim Clemente. You know who he is. If you don't, you can check him out. I've talked about him a ton, former profiler. He said that he knows from his sources inside that the FBI BAU that was staged. The year 2 press conference was staged, to the killer who may be in this room. We know this about power to you. That's sexual sadistic killer. You look that up and it's always power and control, power and control. And again, this is another person talking. And again, we're just talking serial murders, but in general, murders kill people directly. Arsonists kill people peripherally. People value efficiency. Okay. So they're not going to get their hands bloody, so to speak, even if they're a serial arsonist of some way, shape, or form. And I don't think that that's what happened to Flora. I don't think that was a serial arsonist. And there's a lot of fires in Carroll County, and I could see for sure some of them being linked, but I just don't know if all of them can't be linked. All of them are not linked, but there could be a couple that are linked. But I think what you're going to have and what you're going to see is you're going to have like things that branch off. Maybe these 2 or 3 are linked. Maybe these are insurance jobs. Maybe you have multiple people operating within Carroll County doing insurance jobs unbeknownst to the other landlords. You know what I mean? I find a lot about bad landlords in Flora. And it's rough. We have a lot of bad landlords here too. but we also have some good ones. So I just want to read you a little bit. This is from another paper that was studied. I'm not going to pull the whole PDF and show it to you, but this is the abstract. So this is kind of like, okay, this is, hey, well, we think this is where we can going in. This is our, I don't want to say it's their, scientific method, their hypothesis or something, but like this is kind of pulling things together. Controversy exists in literature and society. Whoops. That's why I always have my phone next to me. I forgot to click this tab. I apologize. Controversy exists in literature and society regarding what motives sexual serial killers to commit their crimes. Hypotheses range from seeking revenge or seeking of sexual gratification to the achievement of power and control. That's power and control. There you go. To the expression of anger. The authors provide theoretical, empirical, evolutionary, and psychological support for the argument that the serial sexual murderers above all commit their crimes in the pursuit of sadistic pleasure. I think that that's what this is. And again, this is a synopsis of their page. The seeking of power and control over victims is believed to serve two secondary purposes of heightening sexual arousal and ensuring victims' presence for the crime. Anger is not considered a key component of these offenders' motivation due to its inhibitory psychological effect on sexual functioning. Meaning if someone's really mad, maybe they can't sexually function. But on the vice versa, on the flip side, if someone gets overly mad or overly pissed off, then they might not be able to function, which then could lead them to take out more anger on someone and blame their victims for that. On the contrary, criminal investigations into sexual serial killings consistently reveal erotically charged crimes with sexual motivation expressed either overtly or symbolically. Overtly is, people put things in other people. Symbolically is like they could have them on a bed with, in different various positions or something like that. So when they say symbolically, don't go right back to onanism. Symbolism could mean a lot of things, and ritual means a lot of different things. A serial killer has a ritual. He might be atheist and not believe in anything, but he has a ritual he's going to follow. We all have rituals in the morning. Get up, take a shower, whatever you do, put to your deodorant on, have a cup of coffee. That is considered a ritual too. The authors further believe sexual serial murders should be considered sex offenders, but we know that. A significant portion of them appear to have paraphilic disorders with spectrum of sexual sadism. Sexual sadism, homicide type, is proposed as a diagnostic subtype of sexual sadism applicable to many of these offenders and suggested modification for the DSM criteria. That's the book that has everything in it, explaining all this. So basically, this is what pulls that from. But I think that this is going to be spot on. The Killer of Delphi. Maybe not spot on, but 8 out of 10 we're going to hit. And I believe the Killer of Delphi is Richard Allen. And again, you're not going to have any of these things in an arson fire, right? It's not, you're not hands-on. So could you have different, could they change MOs? Yes, killers change MOs. If this is the same person, then you keep this in mind too. And I know, keep in mind, I showed you a lot of serial stuff. I know that I don't think Delphi is serial. But if you think that Delphi and Flora are related and the same person did it, then some places you look at will consider them a serial killer. That's the new criteria. Two things separated by time and space, basically, is the gist of it. It used to be 3, and John Douglas is big against the 2. He said you might just have a person that gets, it's not going to be the same night because that's a mass or that's a spree. But, a couple things happen, blah, blah, blah. But he liked the number 3. So technically, the person that did this, if they did them both, would be a serial killer. Okay? Distance, time, space, everything like that. And it hits the 2 criteria, which I look at 3. So I really wouldn't consider a person that did that like that either. But there's 2 drastically different type of things. Now, can you go from organized to unorganized? In my opinion, and I heavily have this opinion, Flora is an unorganized crime. Delphi is an organized crime. Yes, you can. Ted Bundy early on was very organized. At the very end, when he went in the Chi Omega house, he was drunk and just ate half a cheesecake and picked up a log from outside and bludgeoned the girls with a log. All these other things, he had ruses. Ruses are highly intelligent. People to use ruses are highly intelligent and they're highly organized. And he would do that. He'd come out with the the cast on, or, hey, could you help me with this, help me with that? And the girl would get near his van, and he would hit them, and he would take them and do what he did with them. But at the very end, and alcohol had a lot to play into that too. And keep in mind that alcohol and serial killers go together like peanut butter and jelly. Almost all of them are on some type of drug, and almost all, I would say even more than that. I don't want to give a percentage because I don't want to be wrong, but a lot more than half are alcohol or alcoholics or have an alcohol problem. So keep that in mind. Okay. Organized versus unorganized. And this happened. So here's what happened. This happened in November. Flora happens in November. Delphi happens in February. So you're going from way unorganized at Flora to extremely organized. And these are my opinions a couple months later with no killings in between to hone your skills or to figure out a better way. I hope that makes sense to what I'm saying. So clearly psychological end, profiling end, whatever things you want to look at, victimology. If you want to look at you're not going to link it together. Becky Patty did the appraisal. Yeah. You know how many appraisals there are in that area? Appraisers, not many. She appraised the house for $45,000, what it was worth. Now the insurance claim that they got was over $300,000. That had nothing to do with her. Nobody knew anything about anything that went on at Flora. The girls didn't. It's just not. People are saying things, and that's fine if you want to say it, but say I'm speculating this. Nothing has ever surfaced, ever, right? Ever. You don't think the defense team would have brought that up? Hey, we have messages between Libby and Kiera or whatever, absolutely they would have brought that up. Unless, of course, you think they're in on a conspiracy too, and it just keeps widening and widening, and that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But again, you have hands-on, you have Delphi's is deliberate, the Delphi's planning. Whether you believe that he knew the girls were coming or whether you believe that he kind of was waiting for somebody in that area, that's planning, that's forethought. I guarantee you, Richard Allen's convicted. I believe he's the guy. If he is the guy, I guarantee you he fantasized about doing this or something close to this probably thousands of times. And I will be shocked. I will be absolutely shocked if Richard Allen is convicted, if there's not cameras of him. I would hope the police put all kind of cameras up after the fact, especially with the FBI being involved, knowing that killers, they go back to these crimes. And if the FBI initially thought that there were some serial killer tendencies, and you say, why would you write the warrant for Ron Logan? I think that they thought Ron Logan was covering up for somebody that they knew was the killer, but that's just how they wrote the warrant. That's my speculation. But if they thought this much, because they could tell one body was moved, and remember, they called it staging in the FBI thing. I think that staging is sort of correct, but I leaned at posing. But again, remember, Libby fell over. So the way that he left her wasn't the way that she was found. So if you want to say this is an odiness, this is the number this is the number that, go back to Cicero's testimony and you'll see that. So you have to put her in that up position first. If you're going to do that, play the Odin card. But I just don't see how the same guy could do these two things, or group of guys, that it goes incredibly unorganized to this. And unfortunately in Flora, the initial investigation and the initial fire investigation was also incredibly unorganized. So they absolutely 100% screwed the pooch out the door there. Honeybee joined herself too. You guys are fantastic. I will, like I said, I'll be updating what we're going to do there. I think we could have a lot of fun there, though. I'll share anything you want to know about me. I have pictures, stuff like that, or we could talk about whatever we want to talk about. Doesn't have to be true crime. Like I said, one of the topics I want you guys to pick. So I'll put like a post up maybe a week before and say, hey, we have our talk coming up Tuesday at 8:00 or whatever. I'm looking for a topic, and I want the topic to come out of one of the things you put in there. So if you see somebody that wants to talk about, Jaws movies, and you're like, oh, that's a good idea, and a bunch of people jump on it, we're going to talk about Jaws movies. I'm okay with that. And if I don't know a lot about it, I'll try to do some research, but maybe you guys could help me with that and help me learn some stuff like you do. Hold on one second. Get to some more comments here. My friend has been flying her face on land. She called me, I scream. Swat bees. That's all right, Scarlet Letter. Good to see you. Firebug in Carroll County, yeah, Mustang. I kind of laid that out too. I think that there's probably multiple. There's probably multiple, and you're not going to tie all this stuff together. Now, if you want to talk about Stephanie Thompson, Delphi, I could see a bridge there. I haven't been able to prove it or disprove it, but I could see a bridge there. I need more, but I could see where people were coming from there. And she did do smoke detectors. Listen to me. She did do lie detectors for both Flora and for Delphi. That's absolutely true. When they go on a spree on Joe's channel, well, hey, his channel's growing tremendously. If you look, someone sent me a thing, and he's putting out content that a lot of people like to hear. You know, we and him probably disagree on everything regarding Delphi. I don't know about Flora, but it's a free platform, and you know, everything will be coming out. They don't know anything for sure. I'm not sure who you're talking about. If it's the police know a lot more than we know. There's things that only the police and the killer know. And we'll see if it's Richard Allen. And hopefully we get an arrest with Flora, you know. Yeah, different MO, but they can change MOs. But if you look at the change of MOs, a lot of times it's a series guy or girl, and she's getting better, like honing her skills or his skills as he moves forward. Freedom of speech, Gall. Yeah. If you're talking about, you can't make threats against a judge, or certain people you're not allowed to make threats against or say things about publicly. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, or if you think it's freedom of speech or violation of her not letting the third party defense in. But again, guys, just go read the law, have it explained to you by a lawyer. They didn't meet any criteria for that. And if you don't like that law, I never knew that law existed in any state for this case, before I read about it and heard about it. And if you don't know that, I would be like, what do you mean they can't say that? They can't just say anything? No, they can't. And they followed the letter of the law there. So if there's an appeal, that's one of the things that it's a slam dunk. That section of it is a slam dunk. Even their own witnesses that they brought to prove that they had it admitted that they could not provide a nexus. The nexus, you got to put them there, right? You basically have to put them there in Indiana. Not, they knew this one or he saw them a week ago. You got to put them there. They couldn't put them there. I was a little surprised Ron Logan wasn't allowed in because, but the defense didn't argue. The FBI thought it was Ron Logan. The FBI thought it was Ron Logan. They never did that. And through his phone data, I know he lives there, but he could be proven there. So isn't that sort of a nexus? But she threw Logan out. But someone did a thing where she only spent, or the defense team only spent 25% of their time on Logan and Klein, who were stared at hard by law enforcement. So I theorized that there has to be something in there that gets those two off scot-clean or something like that for them not to bring that up, because you would think you want to bring that up. Now, obviously, the onism thing is way more salacious, and it's going to get more attention, and it's going to get people worked up. And maybe that was their deal. Maybe that's what they were going for. I don't know. Financial. Yeah, one of the things Carter says in there, if you looked at arson for money, arson for gain. The big thing with me is, and I know people, I've gone back and forth with people that I understand why you think that. And Dakari takes it to that current IU professor, and he goes over and says, this looks like a lottery ticket. And if an insurance policy looks like a lottery ticket, someone got some explaining to do, right? But it doesn't prove it. But if you put it with other things, I could see it. But if this is an arsonist that the homeowners hired, hopefully they wouldn't hire just some jabroni off the street. This should be an experienced pro. We call them pros. The number one rule in professional arson is to not light a fire and hurt anybody. Not because that arsonist cares about the people in the house, but because that brings more eyes and more police. If you just burn down a house, a vacant house, hey, they're going to look at it a little bit. They'll look at cameras. Hey, they'll look at us. We ain't solving this one. Maybe if you have 2 or 3 or 4, they have an MO or they leave something like that specific. But if you burn a house and then it catches the house next door on fire and kills a family, that arsonist, he's like, oh shit, this is not what I wanted to happen. So that's my biggest problem with it being an arson fire. But I do understand where people go, and there is some validity. It's easy for me to say. There is some validity to that, so I get it. The Unhinged, a great channel. Ashley Schaefer, a great channel. Delphi Dummies, they have some hilarious stuff. Excuse me, guy. I don't have a Kleenex over here, but I don't know what's out there right now this time of night. Get rain. Usually rain helps the pollen and that go down, but I think it's the tree pollen or whatever that's called. I think that's what gets me. Me and my youngest son, my oldest son, gets the regular pollen. I never felt like a premeditated or planned murder, bad parking spot, creek crossing, public place, mid-afternoon. Yeah. It doesn't sound like that, right? Now, maybe, and again, I assume they crossed the creek too. Maybe they didn't cross the creek. Maybe he didn't want them. Maybe they ran. But the only thing I would disagree with you there is the parking spot was a good parking spot as far as he thought by backing in. And that backing in there instead of parking somewhere else shows a little bit of premeditation. But again, a guy in Indiana walking the trails, he might be strapped and he might have a knife on him. That just might be how he goes through life. A lot of people in Pennsylvania are like that. We don't have open carry. You have to have a concealed carry permit. Unless you can walk down the street with an AK-47 around your shoulder. No one can say nothing to you unless you're pointing it at somebody or something like that. Because that's open. You could see that. So I don't know. But what do you think about that brown hoodie? I think it's a brown hoodie underneath that coat. And I think that's what Sarah Clarbaugh is going to testify to, that she saw him in a brown hoodie. My 2 cents. That's probably why he isn't in the one picture. If we're talking about Alan. Oh, yeah. Went back. But anyways, if they put those cameras up, the police put cameras up to watch people coming back to the crime. If Richard Allen's not on camera, that would shock me, right? But again, you would have to, maybe you could do a live, maybe you can't, maybe you see him, maybe he only comes back once or twice, but I just can't imagine that he didn't go back there to some way, shape, or form. He lived that, even if he was scared. Even if he was scared and he was like, oh, I got to be careful. Even if he waited a while, he might have waited a year or two until the coast was clear. But I'm interested to see if there's any evidence for that. And again, if you go back to the one thing, they had something there. Because if you remember when all the undercover cops ran to the cemetery like a week later, when people allege incorrectly that that's when a bullet was found. We know the bullet was found February 14th. I believe the bullet was found. I don't believe that the police officer could lie like that in that meeting that he had with Richard Allen, that they went back there because there was some suspicious activity going on in that area. Whatever that activity was, I don't know, but someone called the police, and that's what that was. They rolled that up. I had that call too. I don't know if I still have it or not. On their 911, you'll get like a readout kind of, and it said police responded to the area to Delphi Cemetery, whatever it was called. It was Delphi Cemetery, not for suspicious activity. It was all that it said, but it correlated with the time. So people said they went back here and re-secured the crime scene. I simply think that's absolutely just not what happened. I do go back and forth on premeditation. If I have where he would park when he would frequent the trails prior to the crime. Yeah, and I think that they know that, and he didn't park there. That's again, speculation by me. I can't tell you that 100% for sure, but I think they know that, and that's not where he normally parked at. But again, I can't tell you that 100% for sure. But now here's the thing too. Maybe it's a little bit of both. Let me explain. Like I said before, maybe he'd been going to that trail. Maybe he'd been waiting for the right time. Maybe he was going to go after Betsy Blair, like some people thought. Right? Maybe that was it. I don't think so. I think that he knew that the girls were going to be there. I think that the phone's going to tie him into some kind of communication with her. And I told you guys this before. I think the communication that Richard Allen, who I think is guilty, not guilty yet, but in my opinion, he's guilty. I'm not going to be a juror. I'm not a judge yet, but I think he's guilty, and I think that he had communications. Not with Libby, but with Abby. I think Abby was the target of all this, and Libby ruined his fantasy that he had gone through 1,000 times. And probably Libby kicked his ass a little bit. That sawed off little shit, right? She probably let him have it a couple times. And, Abby's cared for her the way that she's left, and Libby is not. And you want to say the sticks? I think the sticks were some kind of covering up almost every time that someone's killed outside, unless it's like a gang thing or something, they want people to see, or a mob hit and they dump you in the street. There's almost some kind of cover. and that's even a criminality thinking wise. Yeah, that's a good idea. Give yourself at least a couple minutes for someone discovers them, but it's a primal thing. You kind of cover your tracks. It's almost like a dog going to the bathroom and covering up because they don't want anyone to know, hey, I'm tracking him here, or he's over here, or whatever. So they cover that up a little bit. I believe there was leaves on top of that too. And I think that's one of the reasons it was hard to be found. But anyone that's been down there in the daytime, it's very hard to get down there in the daytime, right? I'm not Chuck Norris, but I'm in pretty good shape, not great shape. I could be in better shape. But I had some tough going up and down to that hill, helping people. We were like slingshotting people off the one tree. I don't know how the searchers would have got down there at night to see, even with big lights and big torches and stuff like that and searchlights. It'd have been a very, very tough to do. So, but again, maybe it was part premeditated and part not. Hey, Betsy Blair got away. Well, here come these two girls. So I could see maybe it's a little bit of both, if that makes sense. You're saying he parked in a different spot usually would determine. Yeah, that's a great point, Shane. That's a great point. I don't think I've ever talked about that on here. I've talked about it with someone else. But that's a nugget. That's a good nugget. Brown hoodie. Yeah, I don't know about the muddy bloody and people go back and forth there. Obviously, when we get to trial, hopefully we do get to trial unless there's a plea or a change of plea. And obviously, Sarah's going to be on the stand. Betsy Blair is going to be on the stand. The girls, the groups of girls are going to be on the stand. And if the groups of girls, Betsy Blair and Sarah Carbaugh, all point and say, can you see the man? And they all point at Richard Allen. It's over. I mean, it is a fucking game, set, match. It's over. That would be incredibly damning. Now, we've speculated back and forth, and I've speculated with people, and I know that, well, you don't know that for sure. And I said, well, I don't know that for sure. But I think that those people that are on that witness list from the state, this is just my opinion, the fact that they're on that witness list, they already identified him as the man, right? Why would you put all those people? Maybe two witnesses is good. Maybe one group of girls is good. Oh, I can't really say that it's him. I think the prosecution is going to put them on. They've identified him as Richard Allen. That's speculation on my part. So everybody knows that. Okay. There was another thing. I was in my comments somewhere. I was talking to a couple of people and they thought that the picture of Bridge Guy came from a trail cam and they said it was up and it was changed. I've never seen that before. I think it's the FBI. It's the FBI or the state police page. But if you go on there now, it doesn't say that. It says the Delphi Historic Trails. And it said that the picture was taken on Liberty's phone. Not a trail cam is what it says. If anyone has the original or changed, listen, this is Delphi, so I'm not blowing those people off that said that. I've never seen it. And in this case, you kind of got to see it to believe it, or you could speculate and say you're speculating. But if anyone has seen that before, I know we had the Robert Ives interview, and I can't find it. And I didn't think you could ever successfully scrub anything off the internet, but I think that they did that. I believe that. Because the people I've talked to, like 9 or 10 people that I trust that are good people, and they all remember seeing it or hearing it, but no one could show it and find it and give it to me again. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. So if anyone has that where it says the trail cam, unless someone saw that historic trail and they're remembering wrong or something like that, that can happen too. Doesn't mean that people are lying, but I can't find it, so it's hard for me to go off it. But then again, not, because offenders can be very methodical and routine based, so it's hard to know. Yeah, I think that Delphi was a methodical, routine based offender, and I know Richard Allen was in the military or whatever it was for a very short time. So it doesn't mean he's regimented like a 20-year Marine, but I just don't see that in Flora. I hope I'm addressing your question, Scarlett. I don't know if I am or not. Hey, Olivia, no problem. Good to see you. But, I mean, they're just so far. And listen, I know that people say, well, there's young girls and this is this distance and the population of this town is only so much. Well, that's why nothing's 100%, right? Maybe it's 98% possibility, but there's still 2% that doesn't happen. And I don't know if that's the percentage. But, I mean, if there was two fires or two, sharp object, killings in the same kind of people, you also have black versus white girls. Does that matter? Not as much as they originally thought, but most killers do kill inside their race, unless you're like a Gary Ridgway, where your race is sex worker. Or I don't even know what's the right word to call them. I used to call them pros, and someone's like, you shouldn't call them that. Sex worker is better. So his race was sex worker. It didn't matter, black, white, Asian, Pacific Islander, Cuban, Haitian. He didn't give a shit. But you're having that too. And what you're seeing a lot of times with, especially children and these, herbophiles, if you will, people that are after being a toddler, but before or right up against puberty, they're going to have a type, and they're going to continuously have a type, whether it's a boy or a girl. And they a lot of times sometimes don't even vary with hair color. And then there's others that are opportunity, and these are the people to throw you off because they just take whatever they can get. And they are considered serial killers, but they're opportunistic serial killers, a little less organized. There's less planning. The organized person picks out what they want, they stalk it, they watch it. 3 different crime scenes: the abduction site, the murder site, and the disposal site, which I can argue happened in Delphi here. But I understand when people say, well, they only moved one of the girls. I could get it. Let me answer a couple more questions, and I'm going to go blow my nose and get out of here. Or maybe they said something when they walked by him. I believe that. I said that a while ago. Melissa, I think I remember you saying it too for a long time. I think that there certainly was interaction between them before. The police, we've quoted them before, and they have a lot of video, right? They've said that. Like, don't forget that. What were they talking about? Things girls talk about. They didn't say how long the video was, but one of the things that Abby's doing the video and saying is the creepy guy still behind me? Or Abby says, creepy guy still behind me. And Libby, So still behind me. They had an interaction with him, I think. And again, hopefully that all comes out. Took photos of his handiwork. It's absolutely possible. I've theorized that he's on a burner phone. He's not looking at fish, and he's on that phone tracking them or messaging them to meet him or something like that. Or maybe he ran into him early in the trail and tried to talk to him. Maybe he was under the influence. And in a crazy way, and this sounds absolutely insane to normal people, but maybe he thought that he could somehow have a relationship with this girl. Hey, I know the guy you've been talking to I'm a 45-year-old, 5'3", drunken idiot, but maybe that's possible. Okay. It's hard to rule anything out. That's absolute speculation by me. And I think only a person that thought that or said that so far. Hey, Phil Bond. But that's what we do. We speculate on these channels. No one's bringing anything up. It's absolutely crazy that there's no merit to it. As long as you have a little bit of merit to it or understanding, I could walk down the street with you for a while. We maybe will disagree, but at least I understand where you're coming from. I have a hard time believing he knew they were going to be there. There was testimony that they couldn't tie RA to KK. I know Keegan Klein is the only way. I don't know about that, Scarlett. I think that maybe there's possibly some kind of CSAM connection going on. And why wouldn't he be charged with he could be charged with CSAM? Maybe they don't want to tip an investigation because they're rounding up other people. Remember, Keegan Klein's phone launched the biggest CSAM investigation in the state of Indiana's history. And you watch a lot of people, Justice Serve Daily does a good job sharing these sickos. And I think that a lot of that's from his phone, and it branches and wires out. Richard Allen and Keegan Klein might have been digitally connected, not digitally connected, so to speak, but never have known each other. So maybe at some point there was an interaction, there was an exchange or something. And then I told you this before. I thought Keegan Klein was busting out with a fake accounts, busting out what they call busting out phones of young girls. Hey, they got them thinking they're their age or they're this guy or this model. And then they sell the login information to another person, and they give them their old text messages so they could kind of try to talk like them or, try to sound hip or whatever. But that's a total theory too. But the busting out of phones is a thing. My brother actually told me about that. That's what the cops call it. A gun, a box cutter, and maybe more on his person. Maybe he thought he'd meet Bigfoot. Yeah. Yeah, well, you know what? The box cutter, it's very interesting that came out. I can't say for sure. But it's they brought it up, and there was a prosecution witness that brought that up, right? So why would you bring that up if that's not true? All right. Frank going live. Yeah, he talked about it before. So, but I'm going to get ready to get out of here. I hope everyone enjoyed what I had to show them tonight. Let me get to the questions. Does everyone agree that whoever Betsy Blair's seen on a platform? Yeah, I think everyone will agree on that, see-through. I do. Obviously, you know how I feel about it. But yeah, abductor, Some people might think he's the abductor. Some think he might be the abductor and killer. But I think everyone thinks that the person on the platform, whether it's Richard Allen or not, certainly took the girls off that bridge. And if they went down the hill the traditional way on the south end, like we think, or did they march back across and take the trail that we kind of took? But like that's sticking out by the bridge. I don't know. But I think we could all agree on that, see-through. So if you're looking for middle ground for everybody, see-through, I think you found it. I don't know if that's what you were trying to do or not. But congratulations. That's actually really cool. If that's what you were trying to do, and if it wasn't, that's a cool byproduct. I feel that will be extremely important. I think so too. It depends on exactly, yeah. And I've said this before, in my opinion, the timeline is one of the strongest things about the case because you have 3 sets of independent witnesses. These people didn't know each other. They're putting a guy that's dressed like Richard Allen, that fits his description, at the 3 different places he needs to be, right? Coming into the trail, literally on the bridge itself, and leaving the scene with the time, the time of death or whatever. They're going to have some kind of time of death, but 3:30 to 4 is what we think, and that all links up. So as long as those witnesses all go and say that was Richard Allen, that timeline solid. And Dolan, if the recording shows up, if he found, I don't know, but I believe that Dolan wouldn't have lied about that time. I think the most important thing he was looking at was the time, and Richard Allen, Whiteman Drive, or if that tip was read wrong where he wrote Richard Allen from Whiteman Drive. How did he not know later on about, hey, that guy? I don't know. I don't have an answer to that, but that needs to be explained. How Dolan didn't put 2 and 2 together on his own. Now, I don't care if you took 100 tips. Right? If you see a guy like someone that was there, now I'm sure Richard Allen, when he met Dolan in a parking lot, didn't have the coat on and what he had on the day before. Actually, I would expect him to have like some Adidas pants like he used to wear, or something sporty looking to look less like an outdoorsy, look more like a jock, come rolling up, hey, what's up, buddy, type of stuff. That's my guess, but we'll see how that plays out, but that needs explained. And again, Richard Allen, to the best of my knowledge, I'm almost positive on this. Someone could prove or contradict me. I'll correct myself and share it. That interview happened before the picture of Bridge Guy came out. So Richard Allen did not know that. Olivia, thank you for joining my membership club. I'll be sharing more about that as we go on. We're going to do 2 a month. One you're going to pick any topic, and one I'll put up a poll. There's the guy on Reddit, seems genuine. He's convinced they found online C-STAN but not connected. Oh, wow. I believe that too. And again, they said, why wouldn't he be charged like that? Well, if he's connected to something else that they don't want to tip off, they don't need to charge him for CSAM right now, right? In Indiana, a lot of states have lifted like statutes of limitations on that too. So if they don't want to tip off anything else, I appreciate it, Olivia. Man, that tree dander or whatever, I think that's what I get. I'm getting pounded by it right now. I have a tree in the back, but CJK, what is happening? Big Jayhawks fan. Scarlet Letter. I think he was there with no particular victim in mind. He was getting agitated. That could be too. Yeah, that could certainly be too. So I could understand that theory. Again, I think that there was some kind of linkage with them to some online stuff, but I certainly can, if maybe I'm wrong, I could certainly see your theory being correct as other people proposed it to me too. I could absolutely see that happening. And you know what? If maybe he kind of freaked out, maybe he had like a meltdown or something, and that's absolutely possible too. I like some conspiracies. You want to talk JFK? You want to talk Manson? We could go down a hole. There just got to be some fire with the smoke, right? The smoke brings everybody in. Some people are like intoxicated by the smoke. Now I ain't talking about weed smoke. I'm talking about conspiracy smoke. And they like to linger in it. And they don't really want to know what's burning in the fire because they're enjoying the smoke. Hey, this is fucking crazy. Can you believe this happened? And then at the end of the day, a lot of times, it just isn't what people think. But then there's times where the conspiracies, the government releases files like, yeah, we did do that shit with acid. Yeah. We should have done it. Look up Operation Midnight Climax or Intel Co Pro. Intel Co Pro. Dropbox could be important. Yeah, I don't think these guys were Dropboxing at see-through. And here's my reasoning why. I didn't know a lot about technology and stuff when I got into this case, but I found out a lot of different things that CSAMers were using, and Dropbox, and there's another one. I don't know if it's a cloud or something, but these CSAMers got away from those platforms because they were being monitored, being reported somehow. So they're using all kind of other different things, and they're using things that don't appear to be Pinterest, Roblox, shit like that. Like that stuff's fucking wild. And there's merit to it. I don't know if there's merit to it in the Delphi case, but there's merit to it. Yes, here we go to prayer walk for Abby and Libby, October 13th, 1:30. That'll be at 1600 Old Camden Road in Delphi. Randy does a great job. See you, Junior. Hopefully we get a win Saturday. I work Saturday. I'll try to come back on before then. I appreciate everybody for everything that they've done, all their comments. Here's the problem. The guy on the platform had to get off the bridge, double back to let the girls on. So some once happens followed him. Yeah, well, you know what? If you watch one of my videos, it's the one where I helped push Marv up the hill. And we were there in April, which tree-wise and leaf-wise was similar to February. There's probably maybe a little less leaves in February, but there wasn't many there when we were there in April. And I was able to hide behind a tree off the bridge, and I was yelling at people. Nobody could see me. And I just had like a gray sweatshirt on. So if he knew that they were coming, he could have got down there and, you know, maybe hid down a little bit, and then they wouldn't have seen him, especially if they're on their phone or anything like that. But I also agree 100% what you're saying there too, Libertarian. You're absolutely on point there. You could be, you know, high probability that one of us is right, in my opinion, for what that matters. Shane, listen to Turbo describe the injuries. I've already did implant and just snap. Why on 3? Yeah. Yeah, yeah. That's a good point. You want to call it overkill or that's a good point, Shane. I'm not sure it's confirmed. Susan Hendrick mentioned it, but I've never seen it confirmed. You've been having some good comments tonight, Scarlet Letter, as usual. So I'm going to go read what your last comment was so I have context for that. I'm going to let you guys get out of here after that. Give me a second. Sorry. He was there. Oh, okay. So it was there when no particular victim of mine. Okay. Big fan of Susan. I like her. Susan's the one I know people were saying different things about Alan turning around. Susan's the one that said, yes, they came and he stared at me and he stared at the family. And that's Mustang. He did something to Justin Bieber. P. Diddy. That's me and Frank were talking about that. That's thank you, Rescue All the Dogs. Junior. Check out Frank Meister. I don't know if he's going on tonight or not. I think Melissa confirmed that, hopefully. We have confirmation from Melissa. So if he's not on, take a bull hit for Melissa. I haven't had a drink all show. I've been talking my ass off. Well, I hope what I had to tell you makes sense. If you watch this on a replay or see it later on, I forgot to enable live chat again. I apologize. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you agree or disagree with. And 2 or 3 things tonight. Scarlet, Shane just recently. There was 2 or 3, and Libertarian actually. He said 3 things that I really haven't considered. And it was all like a 10-minute period. I've been kind of studying this case since late 2021 and for 3 years. And then like in 10 minutes, people brought up points that are really good. So I love when my chat does that. You guys always do that. So I have as much fun as you guys do. Thank you to everyone for showing up tonight. Thank you for the likes, the shares, the subscribes. Thank you for the memberships, the people that did the membership stuff. You're absolutely fantastic. 63 Clocks, Jinx, Honeybee gave 10 out. Honeybee then got her own, and Olivia. And I'm not sure who all got the 10. Remember Junior Johnson getting 1, but that's going to be sharing that stuff. We're going to have a good time doing that. And hopefully it's affordable for everybody. And YouTube takes a good little, like a hack of it, but that's okay. I think it'll be cool and it'll be a little more interactive. And anyway, maybe 10 people in the chat, we can do whatever. Maybe bring you guys up and just talk to each other or whatever you guys want to do. One will be, I'll put a poll up that I'll kind of steer it, but I'll let you narrow it down. And the other one will be totally upon you. I want to talk about what's the best Michael Jackson album. I'm not too keen on that, but okay. I'm going to say Thriller because that's one I know. But I'm going to leave you to it. Hopefully you all have a great Wednesday night. Have a great rest of the week. I'm going to try to get back here Friday if I can. Look for a porch video tomorrow, a little Rex Huerman talk. And my chat always brings it. I love you guys. You're fantastic. We're going to say tentacles, even though tonight we talked about maybe not having tentacles between two things. We're going to say tentacles, and we're going to have a drink. And have a good night. I love all you guys. Coach Kev, out. I guess I better click end stream again, huh? I'm really leaving now. Coach Kev out.